All right, let's dive into the absolutely wild world of musicals. We're talking huge shows, songs you can't get out of your head, and one guy, one creative genius who kind of wrote the playbook for modern theater. Let's get into it. But seriously, have you ever thought about how weird that is? One minute, characters are just talking like normal people. The next, bam, they're singing their hearts out with a full orchestra that just appeared from nowhere. Seems a little random, right? Well, it turns out there's a really cool reason for it. So, in the world of musicals, a song is basically a character's special move. It's like in a video game when you use your ultimate ability. When a character is just too happy or too sad or too angry to just talk anymore, they unleash their power move. They sing. It's how they show us what's really going on deep inside. Okay, so who's the person behind some of the biggest, most famous special moves in theater history? We got to talk about the composer who basically found all the cheat codes for writing a hit musical, the one and only Andrew Lloyd Webber. This guy was practically born with music in his veins. Growing up in London, his whole family was into it. And he wasn't just learning to play instruments like other kids, he was actually composing his own songs when he was a child. His real superpower, though? Writing these melodies that are so catchy, they get stuck in your head for like ever. I'd bet you've heard his music and didn't even realize it was him. So let's check out some of his greatest hits, and I want you to think of each one as a different level he unlocked in the theater world. Each one had its own crazy challenge and a totally unique vibe. His first really big hit was a show called Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. You might have even seen a version of it at your school. What's so cool about it is that it started out as just a small school play before it absolutely blew up and became a global sensation. The thing that made Joseph feel so new was the music. It was like he took a bunch of different styles and just threw them in a blender. One song sounds like country music, the next is pure rock and roll. That crazy energy, plus a really great message about dreaming big, is what's made it such a classic. So after that, he took that rock and roll idea and just cranked it up to 11 with Jesus Christ Superstar. This was not your grandparents' musical. He pretty much invented a whole new category here, the rock opera. Forget about scenes with lots of talking. This show is almost all singing, and it's powered by loud electric guitars and pounding drums. It was proof that rock music could totally own the stage. All right, for his next trek, Andrew Lloyd Webber took on a project that just sounded, well, completely insane. A musical with no real story, based on a book of poems, all about cats. Literally, everyone thought, there is no way this is going to work. But it did work, big time. Instead of a normal plot, it's just a bunch of cool stories about different kinds of cats. And the performers? They are completely transformed. They move, they act, they look just like real cats. And from this totally weird idea came one of the most famous songs in the entire world, the absolute classic, Memory. So how do you possibly top a musical about singing cats? You get even crazier. His next idea was a high-speed race where all the characters are trains. Yup, the show is called Starlight Express, and it is all about speed. This show is just pure adrenaline. The whole cast is on roller skates for the entire show, racing around a stage that's built with ramps and tracks. So you don't just have to be a great singer, you have to be a legit athlete. And the music is all high-energy pop and disco to keep up with the action. After all of these wild experiments, he created what a lot of people think is his masterpiece, his final boss level of musicals. A show so big, so epic, that it became a worldwide phenomenon like nothing the theater had ever seen before. And I mean, the numbers don't lie. When it comes to pure popularity and success, The Phantom of the Opera is the undisputed champion. It's the most successful musical ever made. It's an absolute monster of a hit. So what's the secret sauce? Well, it's like the perfect recipe. You've got this dark, kind of spooky love story from a classic book. The music is this incredible mix of grand opera and modern show tunes. And of course, there's that one legendary special effect, the falling chandelier. It's just pure spectacle that you will never forget. Okay, so we've seen all these amazing hits, but how does someone even start to write something like Phantom or Cats? Let's take a quick peek behind the curtain at how it's done. You know, it's a really long process. It all starts with just a little spark, maybe a tune in your head or a cool story idea. Then you find a lyricist, who's the person that writes the actual words to the songs. After that, things get really complicated. You have to figure out which instruments will play which parts. And even when you think you're done, you have to try it out in rehearsals and be willing to throw out songs that just aren't working. Now, that third step, orchestration, is so important. It's a huge part of what makes these shows sound so massive and epic. So, what on earth does that word even mean? Basically, think of the composer as a sound designer for feelings. Orchestration is all about picking the right instruments to create the perfect vibe. If you want a scene to feel romantic or really tense, you use strings, like violins. Need a moment to feel super powerful and epic? That's a job for the brass instruments, like trumpets. And if you want that modern, high-energy rock and roll feel, you bring in the drums and the electric guitars. Simple as that. So when you add it all up, the unforgettable songs, the totally bonkers ideas, the epic sound, what is Andrew Lloyd Webber's legacy? What was his final score on the game of entertainment? This quote really hits the nail on the head. Before him, musical theater could sometimes feel like it was just for a certain type of person, maybe an older crowd. But he came along and made these shows that were so different, so big, and so exciting that suddenly theater had something for everybody. He didn't just write shows. He basically invented the mega musical. Think of it like a blockbuster movie or a AAA video game, but for the stage, with massive sets and mind-blowing effects. His songs weren't just theater songs. They were pop hits on the radio. His shows became movies. He made going to a musical a cool mainstream thing to do all over the world. And he opened the door for all kinds of new music to find a home on stage. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. One person's imagination and their guts to try something totally new and crazy can completely change an art form forever. He proved that the only real limit is your own creativity. And that leads me to my last question for you. From racing trains to singing cats, this guy showed that a musical can be about literally anything. So what's your idea? If you could make a musical, what story would you want to tell? Give it some thought. Thanks for hanging out with me today.